to say that, but I don't feel special, Henry.
Well, you are. You really are. I don't know if you remember this.
What's that?
But when daylight saving time first started, I don't remember the year, but I was at WFLO when they started it. And but Nashville stayed on Standard Time. The cities, I don't know if they still are or not. And I remember this guy wanted to fly to Nashville, and he went into Richmond Airport and to check the schedule, and they said, we have a plane leaving Richmond at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and it arrives at Nashville at 10 minutes until 11. And so, and the man said, would you like to have a ticket? He said, no, but if you don't mind, I'd like to stand by and watch that baby take off.
Oh, Indiana. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's imagine. That's like driving a crooked road one time. The road was so crooked, the front end of my car kept running into the back end. I mean, that's a crooked road.
Any one of those rim rods. Kaboom.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I don't know if you knew it, but there's a little town not too far from Farmville, and public kissing is a misdemeanor. If you kiss somebody, it's a misdemeanor. Yes. And the more you miss, the meaner you get. That's
Henry, typical Henry, man. You're on fire this morning. I was telling Noah the other day when I first came to the station in 2010. I was for you. I was like fresh meat.
Yeah.
I heard every joke. But it was fun. It was always fun.
It's always a blessing to me to hear somebody laugh, whether it's something that I said or something somebody else said.
Yeah,
it's something uplifting about it.
You were talking about the history of the station, a week ago or so.
Yeah.
Share some stories of that with us.
Yeah, I've got some more today.
That'd be great.
There's, there used to be a lot of live bands on WFLO. And one of them was Clyde Johnson and the Tennesseans. It was a country music band. And they had the world's only armless musician. His name was Ray Myers. And, when after I got home from the polio in 1951, every month I had to come to see Dr. Keefus, and he was once a month he was in Farmville at the hospital, and then he traveled around the Mid-Atlantic area with a special therapy. And so I'd go over, they'd take me over to do the therapy, and while I was there, I'd always go up to the WFLO studio up on East 3rd Street, upstairs above a little restaurant.
Yeah.
And because it moved in 56 in August to where it is on the Cumberland Road. But anyway, I would go and watch them play. They'd be doing live. And Ray Myers he was billed as the world's only armless musician. Now, he didn't even have nubs. I mean, for shoulders. For upper arm, there was just nothing. And I used to see him eating breakfast at that little restaurant. You could see him, and he'd be using his toes, to pick up the fork.
Yeah, I was wondering
and his
about
coffee.
that.
Yeah. and raising his coffee cup. And I've seen him combing his hair. And also at Dillwyn Lake, they did a show over there at Dillwyn Lake Ballpark. And he did a swimming contest with Ray Ryan, was another WFLO staff member. And Ray was kind of wild and woolly. I think he had a little trouble with drinking maybe too much water sometimes. But anyway...
Based on my experience, a lot of people in radio back then.
Yeah. But he and Ray would do this swimming contest. And, of course, Ray would win. I mean, he would glide through the water. There was no shoulders or arms up there to slow his movement, and he swam with his feet, and he would glide on through the water, and they would have a race. Ray drove a 1950 red Chevrolet convertible, and Ray Ryan would drive an old antique Model T, and they made a joke out of it. Ray would be driving around the ballpark in a circle, and that's Ray Myers, and then Ray Ryan in that old Model T. Of course, he couldn't keep up with the Chevrolet, but he would cheat. He would cut through the infield, and
Yeah.
And they made a big to do about that.
So Ray Myers was driving the car with his feet, I take it.
Yeah, yes, driving the car with his feet. And I saw Roy. The most amazing thing, I think, I saw Ray Myers put his foot inside his front pants pocket and take out change and count it out with his toes.
My goodness.
It was amazing.
I cannot imagine that.
I couldn't either. But see, he was born that way. He was born with no arms.
Double jointed or something. In order to do
yeah, must have been.
Wow.
And when I was, as I said, when I was 13, we had come for therapy and with Dr. Keefus, and the March of Dimes paid for those. But every time we came, I'd want to go over to the Flow Studios on 3rd Street and watch the bands.
Yeah.
And they had lots of live music. And you'd see Ray combing his hair and just doing regular everything else that anybody else was doing.
Wow. Where were they from, Henry? Was he from the Farmville area?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember then where he was from, but he left Farmville and went to Pennsylvania, I believe it was. And anyway, they took his driver's permit. And so he appealed, and the governor and the state legislature made a special law granting him a driver's license, a lifetime driver's license, after they studied his past.
Right.
He'd been driving for years, and so he was able to continue. And I don't know, when, I'm sure he passed away years ago, but I don't know much about that. But he was an amazing human being, Ray Myers. And Ray Ryan was kind of a hard-drinking, ready to fight at any moment. And he was always involved in something. And
was he the morning guy at Flow at the time?
As a matter of fact, I don't think he was. I think Reggie Spear and some of those were probably doing it. I made a list of I think about 35 different employees that I remember.
But now, let me ask you something. Getting back to the Tennesseans,
yes.
right? Because back in those days in radio, especially at Flow, you had all of these artists and acts that would actually visit radio stations promoting their records or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We even had those
Absolutely.
when I was in Norfolk. We had, what they used to call record promotion people coming by, bringing gifts and stuff. But what kind of groups did you guys get in? Who came by to visit during those days?
Well, one of the A.P. Carter was one of the Carter family.
Okay.
He visited, and Loretta Lynn.
Oh, she came by.
She didn't come by, but her husband was driving her, and I kept the card for years, but I don't know where it is now. She would. Her husband would drive her around to different places, and so I got a card from her, and she was writing, and the little pen suddenly made a big mark on the little pad that she wrote it on, and then she put in parentheses, "Car hit a bump." And I kept that for years, but I don't know whatever happened to it.
That's how they did it. They used to drive around all over the country promoting their stuff.
Yeah. Grandpa Jones, I got off the air one morning at 7:45, my early shift, and went in the office, and there was a neat-looking gentleman standing there at my desk. This is when we used 78s. Before we started, they were just coming in to use the 45s. Yeah, so we had the old big 78 RPM records. And I had a stack of them laying on a desk in the office. And when I came out from on the air, that was before the office girls got there, he was standing in there sorting through those old records. And fortunately, one of them was one of his. And so anyway, he went with me into breakfast in town, and it was Ollie's then, and on Main Street, and we went into breakfast, and those cooks and waiters in there, they were just glowing. They were just so happy.
You see Grandpa Jones?
They had heard Grandpa Jones, yeah. They were just excited as they could be. And I remember Irvin, the cook, he was excited. They were laughing and just...
You get a celebrity walk in. Sure.
Yeah, it was just fantastic. Yeah.
I'm looking at Noah and I'm saying, he probably doesn't even know who Grandpa Jones is.
Yeah,
but he'd been around for a while. He was pretty good. He was well known.
Is he like a country guy?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, from the name, that's pretty.
He dropped thumb the banjo.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He was on Hee-Haw. He was on Hee-Haw a lot.
Oh yeah. He'd wipe the window and on Hee-Haw and make some silly comment. But this was before Hee-Haw.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now Ray Ryan was always fighting with somebody.
That was the DJ, the Flow DJ. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ray Ryan was of the staff, and he was on vacation somewhere in North Carolina. And I don't know if he'd been drinking too much water or what, but whatever the reason, he was camping out on a river. And he dove into this river that looked to be 8 to 10 feet deep, the water. But it was less than a foot deep and was, apparently it was late in the day. And he dove in and it broke his neck and he passed away there on the scene.
Yeah.
That was Ray
Alcohol
Ryan.
and water do not mix well. That's for sure.
Do not mix well, right.
No, that's a terrible thing. Yeah.
Charlie Chrisman was the chief engineer. O.C. Covington was his assistant.
I saw his picture. They used to have his picture on the wall, if I'm not mistaken, in the old Flow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Most all commercials were done live.
Yes.
Anything on tape was a great big old spool tape. And if you did a recording of a commercial, if you put a bunch of them on there, you'd have to rewind it and do it. Was just almost impossible. So basically, everything was done live. And so I remember I was a new kid on the block, so to speak, and I would be doing a commercial for man's store. He had 4 or 5 stores, and I was doing a commercial live. Charlie Chrisman would walk in while I was doing it, lean over my shoulder, and he would say some terrible things. He'd call a man's name, and he said, "I wish I had your nose full of nickels," while I'm doing a commercial.
Oh, my.
And I would have to try.
This was live on the air, right? Yeah, this was live on the air.
Yeah, on the air. Yeah, he would lean across my shoulder and say that. And Charlie would just laugh about it. But, you know, they told me to go spit in the window, I would go and do it. I mean, you know, these are professionals, and Charlie later left Farmville, and he opened up a station in Charlottesville. He did the engineering. I believe it was WELK, Welk, but I don't know if, you know, by what name or anything now.
Yeah.
But, of course, Al Smith was on the air for a good many years.
Oh, yeah. Saw his picture, too.
Yeah. And, you know, he didn't have legs, and they had artificial legs. And the late Mr. Guy Dixon called me one time and read an article from the American Trucker magazine. Al was from New York, and according to this article, anyway, he was working at a trucking company in New York, and he was drafted into the Army.
With no legs?
He lived there.
With no legs?
No, he did. He had legs.
Oh, he
at
had
that
legs
point.
then. Okay.
Yeah, but he was drafted, and after a few months, he came home for a visit, for furlough. And he went down to the trucking company to visit his old friends there, and a truck accidentally pinned him against a wall, and as a result, he had to have both legs removed.
Yeah, probably the loading dock. He probably got stuck between the loading dock.
Yeah, it was a loading dock.
Yeah,
that's what it was. And after that, he was hired by WFLO.
Yeah.
Now, Al had a buddy who was a dwarf, but he was a lieutenant in the New York City Police Department, and he loved country music. And when he would visit Al, he'd always come over to where I was on the air, and he'd talk to me. Well, Al did his banking through his little buddy who looked after Al's finances.
It's the guy in New York, right?
Yeah, he's a guy in New York. And again, in Truckers Magazine, there was a story that Alfred E. Smith had to settle for $3 million as a result of that accident many years ago. And right after that, Al died, and no money was ever found, and his little buddy never called again.
The little dwarf was living high on the hog.
Yes, he was. Dr. Munoz was Al's doctor, and he somewhere or another got this little, well, I know how he got it. The day Al died, he was in the hospital, but before he went in the hospital, his phone record, he had made like 25 or 30 calls to this little dwarf who was in New York. And so Dr. Munoz called that number in New York and talked to his little buddy. And anyway, the little buddy told Dr. Munoz that Al was born with no legs. That was a lie, because I had seen a picture of Al carrying his little niece, and he was running, and you could actually see his bare legs. She was straddling his shoulders, and it looked like maybe 5 years old.
Was Al working at WFLO when he passed away?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he called me and wanted me to come up to the hospital. It's something he wanted to tell me. And so I get up there, and the hospital doors are still closed. So I went around back and went through the emergency room and went in. And by then, Al was unconscious, and he died later that day. So I never did know. I suspect he was going to tell me something about getting his money or whatever. And not for me, but for to take care of his bills and so forth. So anyway, this little buddy gave false information to Dr. Munoz. And then Al's funeral service was held at Longwood College in Jarman Auditorium. Mm-hmm. And Gene Ike and I had a speaking part in the funeral service. We spoke briefly about Al. And his niece came down from New York and took his body. I think she took his body back to New York, I believe. My mind's a little vague on that. But anyway.
Well, we're at the bottom of the hour here, Henry.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, but good stories though. I really enjoyed learning that. You know, I was hoping we could have some time.
I got a lot. I got a bunch of more of them.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to ask you about Mr. Wilson. You know, when maybe we can talk about that next time. Because when I first came to the station, I met Mr. Wilson.
Yeah,
he died a couple of years later, unfortunately.
Yeah, the next thing is about John, manager John Wilson.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about. Let me just tell you this. I had one big argument with him. I mean, and I got up and walked out. I was on the air. We'll give you details on Thursday.
That sounds good.
It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah. I'll be listening. I won't be here Thursday, but I'll be listening for sure.
Yeah, in other words, John ordered me to play Elvis Presley, and I refused because he was ruining country music.
And it was called
and
rockabilly then, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I got up and I left the studio and went home. But anyway, this is an interesting story about what happened and why, and we'll try to share that Thursday.
Sounds good. Yeah. All right, Henry.
Thanks, Henry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Always good talking to you, Guy. Yeah, I'll look forward to it on Thursday. All right, Henry. God bless.
Thank you. All right. God bless you.
That was Henry Fulcher, the one and only. There's nobody like him. Honestly, that's wow. So funny.
I don't know how he remembers all those people. I worked with a lot of people too in radio. I remember, same thing. A lot of people. Then I don't remember all their names.
Yeah.
I can remember some of the stories, and some of the weird stuff, but
he knows like every detail about these.
Radio
people.
in those days would attract just some really weird,
some strange.
They would.
Yeah.
So they should write a book. But, yeah.
Well, you are right, Dan. It is the bottom of the hour, and we're gonna jump into the weather real fast. This is the weather forecast for this week. Today, chance of showers and thunderstorms after 2 p.m. Mostly cloudy with a high around 88. Tonight, chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low around 69. Wednesday, a slight chance of showers after 2 p.m. Mostly sunny with a high around 94. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 70. Thursday, slight chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high around 94. Currently, right now in Farmville, it is overcast skies, 73 degrees outside right now, humidity 95%, wind speed, south winds 7 miles an hour, and barometer reading a steady 29.98 in Farmville. We're going to jump into the birthday calendar now. The birthday calendar is brought to you by Creative Electrical Contractors, located at 1907 East 3rd Street in Farmville.
Creative Electrical Contractors specializes in commercial and industrial projects and offers quality work at competitive prices. CEC is a licensed Class A contractor in Virginia and North Carolina. Creative Electrical Contractors has been in business for 25 years, still committed to the values that were established when the company opened in 1998. Integrity, quality workmanship, and timely delivery. CEC, located at 1907 East 3rd Street, Farmville. You can contact CEC at 434-392-3802 or at creative-electrical.com.
Dan, how's it going?
Well, we have a few birthdays to announce here
absolutely.
This morning. On July 30th, people born. Well, that would include Larry Biddle. I hope I said that right, not Biddle, but Biddle. Jonathan, Jonathan Roofrock.
That's a very unusual one.
Yeah, I'm thinking Roofrock, I think is how you pronounce it. Violet Gray Horn having a birthday today. In addition to that, we have Susan Absher of Farmville, and also today on her birthday is Alice Bell in New Canton. And that concludes our no anniversaries here, but that concludes our birthday calendar for July 30th.
All right. If you have a birthday or you want to send one in, you can call that number, 434-394-0924, or you can email those birthdays to birthdays@wflo.net. And it doesn't have to be a birthday. It can also be an anniversary. The birthday calendar was brought to you by Creative Electrical Contractors. If it's not right, we'll make it right. Call 434-392-2802. All right. Dan, I see you got some stories in your little binder.
Well, I have today in history.
Oh,
we do that on July 30th. What happened because Virginia's in here. In 1619, on this date, the first representative assembly in colonial America convened in Jamestown, and here in the Virginia colony. It was also in 1864, during the Civil War, Union forces tried to take Petersburg. Right? They exploded a gunpowder-laden mine shaft beneath Confederate defense lines. The attack failed. Called the Crater. Still there. Kind of grown old a little bit. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's still there. Also, it's been in a couple of movies, too, as a matter of fact. 1916, German saboteurs blew up a munitions plant on Black Tom. That's an island near Jersey City, New Jersey, killing about a dozen people. In 1930, Uruguay won the first FIFA, F-I-F-A, that's the soccer thing, World Cup, defeating Argentina 4-2.
Wow.
It was in 1945. The Portland-class heavy cruiser USS Indianapolis, having just delivered components of the atomic bomb in Tinian in the Mariana Islands during World War II, was torpedoed by a Japanese submarine. And then a famous story, only 316 of nearly 1,200 service members survived. That was in the movie Jaws. Remember Jaws? Captain Quint telling that story? He was on that?
That's
Sharks. It was the shark. The sharks came and guys really ate most of them.
Yeah.
But that was on this date in 1945. 1956, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a measure making "In God We Trust" the national motto, replacing "E Pluribus Unum." 1965, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Social Security Amendments of 1965 that led to the creation of Medicare and Medicaid. On July 30th, 1976, Caitlyn Jenner, who was then known as Bruce Jenner, he or she, I don't know, one or the other, won the gold medal and set a world record in the Olympic decathlon at the Montreal Summer Games. 2013 on this date, not that long ago, U.S. Army PFC Chelsea Manning was acquitted of aiding the enemy, the most serious charge that, again, she faced, but was convicted of espionage, theft, and other charges at Fort Meade, Maryland, more than 3 years after she had spilled secrets to WikiLeaks. The former intelligence analyst was later sentenced up to 35 years in prison. The sentence was commuted by President Barack Obama in his final days in office. And that's a look at our history on this date. in July 30th.
Okay, gotcha. We have some oddities actually as well. If you want to get into some oddities, or if
On
you
this date?
Yeah, or just like news articles that are just like little strange coincidences or things that have happened.
Well, our news guy Shirello had the thing about the airdrop here. That's off.
Oh yes,
the airdrop is off. They've had some maintenance problems, some scheduling problems. So the school supply airdrop that was scheduled, I think, for this Saturday is not going to happen. But they're still going to deliver the school supplies. Going to do it by auto, truck, whatever. It's still coming in. So
not as exciting
not as exciting as the airplanes coming out. Yeah, that's go ahead. What you got?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, it does say the Oscar Wiener Mobile, the one that we were talking about the other day.
Yesterday.
Yeah. We also have. Let's see here. Whale surfaces capsizes fishing boat off New Hampshire coast.
A what? A whale died?
Yeah, a whale like capsize. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, whale surfaces like the body of a whale. And it capsizes a fishing boat, apparently, in New Hampshire. We can get into this. It says 2 fishermen are safe after a whale crashed onto their boat, capsizing it off the New Hampshire shore, according to the U.S. Coast Guard.
That's not the first time, by the way, that's happened. This is happening increasingly more.
Interesting.
With the whales. They're wondering what's going on.
What's causing, it's probably all the plastic in the water.
The whales have had enough.
Yeah, they're tired of it.
We're tired of this.
Rolling over.
Like the sharks down there we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
Eating all those cocaine packs.
That's right. Yeah, the ocean.
Cocaine sharks.
The ocean's almost.
Maybe the whales are getting some of
it. It's like more dangerous, like above ground. Who knows what's going on down there? It says the incident occurred Tuesday. The 2 men were thrown overboard. They said, said they had seen the whale earlier and were trying to keep their distance. He went under, he disappeared for a few minutes, and then the next thing we know, he just popped right up on our transom, I guess. Fisherman Rylan Kenny told WMUR-TV. The Coast Guard posted to X, which used to be Twitter, that they had received a Mayday call stating that a 23-foot, 7-meter center console boat had turned over because of the whale breach. That's crazy that the whale breached the boat. It's like
a Moby Dick moment.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Very interesting.
Are you a Star Wars fan?
I watched the original trilogy, but I haven't seen the prequels or any of the new films that came out. So,
yeah,
I enjoy the world though. I think it's a fun story.
What, Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yes. Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You like her?
Yeah. Do
you realize her gold? I guess you saw
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, her gold bikini.
Mm-hmm.
That was sold.
I'm familiar with it. Sorry.
Sold at a Dallas auction house for $175,000.
Wow.
It was worn. It was Carrie Fisher. It was in Return of the Jedi, by the way. But that was just one of the Star Wars memento. They're starting to sell these things off at huge amounts. A model of a Y-wing fighter. You probably saw those two in the movie from the original film. Recently sold for $1.55 million at auction.
Wow. That's some big money in the Star Wars.
You have one of those sitting in your backyard. That'd be kind of neat.
Well, we do have a caller. Caller, you're on the air. Oh, never mind. That's no mas. All right. I'm sorry. What were you saying, Dan?
Well, I was talking about. I was wondering here. There's a story here about boneless chicken wings.
Okay.
I like boneless chicken wings.
They're pretty good.
But what happened? There's this guy in Ohio, right? Mm-hmm. And he went to a restaurant. He got some boneless chicken wings. However, he ate one, and there apparently a chicken bone, a 2-inch chicken bone in that boneless, and it tore part of his esophagus.
Okay.
For a bone. So obviously he sued.
Yeah.
So like this went to court. It got all the way up. This is in Ohio. Got all the way to the Ohio Supreme Court.
Wow.
And they ruled that boneless chicken wings can, in fact, have bones.
Wow.
I object to that, but that's there you have it. So he lost.
Interesting.
Yeah, he did.
I was going to say, it almost reminded me of that episode of Seinfeld when Kramer's like, the coffee was too hot.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things. It's like, well, But anyways, we have a caller on hold. Caller, can you hear us?
Yes, I certainly can, and I read that article in the paper about the boneless chicken wings, and
You did?
I could not believe that they threw that out. And
I know.
It was something like the boneless had something to do with the way it was cooked, not the fact that there could be a bone in it or something to that effect.
Hey,
but
if you're buying
anyway,
boneless chicken wings, they should be boneless.
Or
That's
don't
what
call
you
them
get.
boneless chicken
Don't call
wings.
them boneless.
Yeah.
Really?
Or maybe
I
just once in a while boneless chicken wings.
Well, anyhow, Dan, it is so good to hear your voice.
Oh.
I don't know if you recognize mine or not, but I go way back with WFLO, and I imagine Noah knows who I am.
Of course I do. Yeah, that's Betty. Betty
Oh,
Ike.
is that Betty Ike? Oh,
That's
hey, Betty.
Betty.
How are you?
Hey, I'm okay. I did send you all by email a birthday yesterday
Okay.
for Judy Calhoun of Farmville,
Judy.
and for some reason, y'all did not get that on the air.
We apologize
But-
about that. Yeah. I'm sorry about that, Betty.
Well, I don't seem to have much luck emailing them in. But I usually call and let you know.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Judy Calhoun had a birthday today?
Today.
Today.
Mhm, she's from Farmville.
Okay.
Lives right around the corner from me.
Well, God. You guys going to be maybe celebrating later?
I don't do much celebrating anymore.
Amen to that.
Yes. And I believe you said it was your daughter who had health problems?
Yeah. She's throat cancer actually.
Well,
diagnosed in March.
I hope she's going to do well.
She's doing well. Yeah, we 8 weeks in Hampton, proton therapy. It's like something out of Star Trek. It was amazing.
Well,
she just got her voice back. She starts she's a teacher, so she needs her voice. She's a special needs teacher, actually. She'll be teaching autistic children, and they were able to do some dilation to get it back while the healing process is taking place. But
that is just miraculous.
It is miraculous. I mean, this was God is good, and he was involved in this whole healing process. And,
wonderful.
So she's doing well, and it's just another miracle taking place.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you all take care and keep Henry straight if you can.
I gave up on that long time ago.
I know what you mean. Well,
good talking to you,
for
Betty.
taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
We talked about the Olympics yesterday.
Yeah.
And how disgusting that opening was.
Yeah.
But I guess the games are underway. Some people are winning some gold medals.
Okay.
Here's something that most people probably don't know. But a lot of these athletes from those countries, when you win a gold medal at the Olympics, for that country, it's a sense of pride. Mm-hmm. It's recognition. It's whatever, right? So a lot of those countries now, if you're an athlete representing that country and you win a gold medal for that country, they will give you money.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, I did not know that, but yeah. It makes sense.
33 countries will award cash prizes for gold medals. And 15 of them will pay something like $100,000 over that. Nice. Now, in the United States, if you win a gold medal, they're going to pay you $37,500 for every gold medal you might win. And by the way, I believe this is tax-free. Mm-hmm. Silver pays $22,500, and you get $15,000 for bronze there. That's just the U.S. In Hong Kong, if you win a gold medal there, they're going to pay those guys $768,000 American money. Italy pays $196,000, France $87,000. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's pretty amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah. That's
and like I say, I think in the U.S., if you do that, it's tax free too. On top of that,
that's the bonus.
Not counting the commercial endorsements, which is why most of them are doing it. But that'll come as well.
Yeah. Well, we do have another caller, Dan, so we'll take that right now. And caller, you're on the air.
Oh, thank you very much. I was just I had a few, I guess, what would we call them? Conspiracy theories for the Olympics, since we're an Olympic role.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear a whole. I didn't hear a whole lot. So we don't have to pay. The athletes don't have to pay any taxes on the.
I'm not sure. I believe when they win, the money the nation pays them, the country pays them, I believe is tax free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
If you win a gold medal in America, you're going to get $37,500 for every gold medal you win. $22,500 for silver, $15,000 for bronze.
And that's, I guess, taxpayer money, I would assume.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Taxpayer. You know how Congress is. They think it's their money. It's not. It's not their money. They can spend it the way they want. Hey, let's do this.
Oh my goodness, ain't that the truth? But they were talking about the and I don't know who they is, okay? Because some of this I got off the internet, so take it with a grain of salt if you want. Mm-hmm. But they were talking about the aquatics and how they thought there were going to be a mess load of records being broke, just because I guess the trials before and then the international the heats and stuff. But it doesn't seem like it's happening. And somebody was bored, so I guess they decided to try to look into it. So they think it was because the Olympic pool is about 3 foot shallower than, I guess, the other pools that these guys compete with. So I guess there would be, in their belief, I guess a little bit more drag. If you can kind of picture that. You're
so if the water is shallower, it presents more drag.
That's what I would assume. I can picture that.
I don't. That might be true.
Yeah.
But you start to.
I thought in the Olympics, all the swimming pool would have to be the same, same size, same everything.
I did too.
Otherwise, it'll be an asterisk by the records.
Yes, maybe they gave you a between. It has to be between X and Y.
Yeah.
So I think it was a little bit. This one is like a little over 7 feet. So I think the standard is like somewhere around 10 feet.
Yeah, I think it's 10 feet. Yeah.
Feet. And so. Take that for what it's worth.
I don't think France is known for their great swimmers.
No.
So maybe they do that for a reason.
Oh my, yeah.
I haven't seen much of the Olympics at all, but I will watch the golf.
Yeah.
Probably the basketball. I love the basketball.
They're almost like just another weekend.
That's
just
true.
Watching another golf tournament.
That's true.
Everybody there plays on Saturday and Sunday.
I know they were complaining about the beds. The athletes were, because they're kind of made out of cardboard, and they got some kind of material on top. They're calling the athletes are calling them anti-sex beds.
Yeah.
So, as I understand it's almost like party time at the Olympic Village.
Yeah,
every time they have these.
I mean,
I don't know if you read those stories or not. Oh, good grief!
The drag is some knucklehead thinks that's the only position out there. So,
True.
But they had I didn't catch which country, but there were going to be 2, I guess, genetic males are going to be boxing in the female divisions.
Yeah, they have a record number of transgender folks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this year competing in the Olympics. Mm-hmm.
And so they're doing it in more than
read
just...
that. I read that somewhere.
You'll see them peppered.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's quite a few, apparently.
Oh, my.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I can picture that then.
Mm-hmm.
So, there should be asterisks behind those winners.
I agree.
Oh, good. And here's a crazy one. And I started to look, but I could only find the portions of it to disprove it. I guess there were some areas of the city that the lights went out about 24 hours after the Olympics. The opening ceremonies ended.
In Paris?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did not hear
and,
that.
I guess because it was so small, it might not even be true. But I guess there was one church that was open 24/7. And miraculously, that was the only one in that area that had the lights on in it. Huh. So it's kind of like this, godly kind of thing. But then I started to look, and it's like, so there was some area that the lights went out, and it was only for like 10 minutes, and did some backup generator kick on, or so.
Well, I do know that after the opening of the Olympics in Paris, there was the next night, because of the opening, there were I noticed our mainstream media has not had any news on that. Literally thousands and thousands of what was Christians came into the street with candles and singing songs the next night in deference to what had taken place with the Olympics. So so maybe there's some hope for France after all.
Oh my gosh!
And I saw a picture of it, and literally it's just thousands just lined the streets with the candles and lights, and they were singing. So maybe some hope there after all. Who knows?
I hope so. We need something to enlighten us. Yes.
That did not make the news, the mainstream media news anyway, which doesn't surprise me.
Wow. No. Yes. It seems so. But there was I guess a law. This must have been maybe part of when the amendments were being written. That this doesn't have anything to do with the Olympics, but there was like this snitch law or something. If you thought somebody in the government agency was doing something bad, you could snitch on them and not be considered a
whistleblower law is what they call it.
Yes. Okay, that's what they call it?
Yeah, whistleblower.
It seems like okay, so you're familiar with it a little.
Yeah, it started. I think they brought that. It came to light during when the Trump Russian hoax thing. And then they decided, well, you can be a whistleblower and we'll protect you on that type of stuff and all that, which all turned out to be a hoax anyway. But that's when that really came to light.
Yes, I was hoping there'd be something out there that would protect us if we see somebody doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But it seems like now if you do snitch, you're kind of like shunned, and then the government's like on your butt trying to find something else to jam down your throat.
They promise to keep you anonymous. They promise to protect you and not names things like that. And I think, well, that's kind of. Yeah. I mean, you could come up with anything if that's the case.
Yes, because there were a few big names that were, I guess, busted. Who was the one that did he go to Russia?
Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
Yes.
Snowden.
And
turns out he was right.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he
government spying on everybody. Turns out he was right. Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
We're getting right near the end here. We got to start wrapping it up and head for news. But good talking to you. Appreciate the call.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right. Oh, all right, guys. Goodbye.
We'll see you. Yeah, we got a few minutes here before we get into news.
We do. Okay, so
John Staten, by the way, on vacation.
Yeah, have you talked with him at all?
No, I have not.
Oh.
Normally text.
Yeah.
You do that type of thing. A guy was talking about the government. I got a story here about the government.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy,
It's not good.
This is not our government yet, but it's the Spanish government, right? And I say, well, we can kind of relate to this. But the Spanish government here, they discovered an employee, all right, that had been skipping work for 6 years. Meanwhile, they were recognizing him for his dedication to the job. Joaquin Garcia. He's a 69-year-old building supervisor at a water treatment facility in Spain. He managed to rake in American dollars, $242,000 for 6 years of work he didn't do. A lot of times he just stayed home. All right. And this was all because of some kind of miscommunication between two departments. Nobody was overseeing his work. That's the bureaucracy of things, right? Anyway, meanwhile, he had been nominated for an award for his 20-year tenure when somebody finally took note. Because of the nomination, they said, what's this guy do? And then they found out. And I'm thinking, Good grief! All you got to do is go to Washington D.C.
Yeah.
with all the government employees there. What do they do?
You can just do the same experiments.
Kind of like the same thing.
Oh man, that's funny.
But anyway,
yeah, I guess they didn't have a picture of him for the placard or anything. Just like
they were going to give him an award, and they found out. Wait a minute,
he hasn't been to work in 6 years.
6 years, you haven't done nothing.
Yeah,
We've been paying you to do nothing.
Yeah, it does seem like that though. With people in Washington, that's just there's so many people. And,
I follow the financial end of it, and they come out with the jobs reports, but you got to break those down.
Yeah,
the last jobs report came out, which was really glowing. Look how many jobs we created. 70% of those jobs they created were government and healthcare. Yeah, 70%. Most of those government, which of course, the government doesn't pay taxes.
Yeah, of course.
Don't get me started.
Oh boy, are you libertarian? Not. Yeah, libertarian. Do you believe in less governments?
Well, I do believe in less government. Yeah, I think it's too big. I think we
cut it in half.
We have departments I think are useless in the federal government.
Yeah,
things that should be on the state level.
Yeah.
More so.
Well, it is 9 o'clock, so Dan will be taking over now. We bid you adieu, and hope you guys have a great day. Goodbye.